Aqui pode segurar essas coisas. Segundo.
Dear students, will start the subject assigned to me, that is the MIS. In proposal group of institution and did my PhD from Utkal University in computer science and having around 21 plus years of teaching experience and studied and taught different subjects like programming language, data management. Is it audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So, subject is information system. Information system, that is the
Because
system particularly refers info to us, that is one is the information and another is the system. Information, suppose I will tell a number. So now, suppose I will refer to this one. So it is because this is the raw data. Particularly if it is the data, that is the raw form it is present. But when I will tell it is a mobile number, it is a mobile number, then at that time it is the information. So information system to be developed from our side. So because
Sir, voice is not audible.
Can
Yes,
be
sir.
defined as
The voice is
meaningful.
not audible.
What's not audible?
Yes, sir.
Sir, the voice is lacking.
Yes, so
Already there, I think there is some internet connectivity issue.
What happened?
Sir, your
Okay.
voice is lacking. Some type of hang or any kind of. Sir, any kind of network issues.
Not audible. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So information can be defined as meaningful interpreted data. So if we give a numbers like this 986117170, but if when you will tell it is a mobile number, then raw data is converted into information. So it becomes very useful information sometimes when we are adding the address or or any other cases like the registration number or in case of the student and account number in case of the bank when we are opening the bank account. So that is why what is the definition of information system? An information system is that is a system. Information system is a system that gathers, that collects data and disseminates information with the purpose to provide information to its users. Because a system having some users, we have to give the informations. So, what information? Student information system, employee information system. So, that in the entire system, we have to provide some information. So, that is what is the complete definition of information system? An information system is a system that gathers data and disseminates information with the sole purpose of providing information to its users. Hello. So, what is the objective of information system? Next, come to the part objective of information system. So, information system gathers data. Okay. And information for the purpose of provide information to the user. So now, just this is the complete definition. So, what it will take? It will gather data, collect the data, because nowadays the data is very high volume of data. So, high volume of data particularly refers to the three B's. High
Sir, please
volume,
repeat gathers data and
disseminates, DISSEMINATS, disseminates,
TAS.
EMINATS, TES. Disseminates information for the purpose to provide information to the user. Okay. So
Sir,
now
for
information for the purpose for the purpose to provide information to the user.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So now what will happen, because the data collection, data gathering is the difficult one. Data gathering and pre-processing like that. Now, if you consider the data case, so there is a high volume, high velocity, and a high variety of the data present. High volume, high velocity, and high variety of the data present. So that is a volume, large volume, because the size of the data particularly refers to as the volume, high volume of the data, terabytes of data. So because we have to work.
नहीं कैमराটা ভুলিয়ে গেলাম
We have to work with the huge high volume of the data. So data size is very high. So that is why, because when we gathers the data to provide the information. So first problem constraint is the high volume of the data, because the data size is very high. Velocity and variety tells the different types of the data, because always the similar type, not so many times the different categories of data will come. So that is also a problem. And the velocity tells that the uh, today we have to gather some data, tomorrow again, because the not fixed for 1 day, for 2 days, like that, because each time the data is generated, hospital management system, if you think it, suppose a global operations are going on, or the in national level Apollo hospital, so it is operating across different states. So but on that case, the patients are admitted daily. That means the data is stored daily. We have to gather the data. So that is the case. As one example, each and every time data will be generated. So that is why we have to also gather that and deriving the required knowledge from those data. So that means the purpose to provide information to the users. So that is the definition of the information system. Get it clear? Defining the information system.
Yes, sir.
Sorry? Clear?
Clear,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Okay. Next is the management of information system. Management of the information system particularly refers to the system which evaluates, analyzes, and processes. System evaluates, analyzes, and processes an organization's data to produce meaningful and useful information, based on which management can take right decisions to ensure future growth of the organization. So now we focus towards the management information system. So না উপর না আমি সেটা দেখি উপরে দেখি Now, management information system, why it is required first? So we have to take right decisions for the betterment, for the growth of the organization. So because the decision making process will be simple and appropriate also. So how to take such type of decisions for the growth of the organization? So an MIS is an information system that evaluates, analyzes, and processes an organization's data. So because now organization data is present here. Now we have gathered the data. Data is present. So organization data is present here. Organization data is present here. Organization data is present here. So we have to produce, what we will do? Produce the meaningful and useful information based on which management can able to take the appropriate decisions for the betterment or for the growth of the organization. Now organization data is present. So it will evaluate and analyze. Because the MIS will evaluate and analyze and processes. What it will do? It will analyze, it will evaluate, it will processes and organization's data. So that is the organization data produce the meaningful and useful information. So it is clear what is MIS, role of MIS. So first is the what is system information, then what is information system, then what is MIS. MIS, what it will particularly do? So it will analyze, it will evaluate and process the organization data. What it will do? It will produce the meaningful and useful information. So that the decision making process, because those who are in the high level, they will take decisions. So the decision making process will be good, because we have to, our organization should grow, our business should grow. So B2B, that is the business to business communication. So in that case, so the right decisions needed for the growth of the organization. This is the role of MIS. Is it clear? Or no? Okay. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now come to the part information, knowledge, business intelligence. Information, knowledge, and business intelligence. So first is the data. So the data, what we have told, so that is the raw material of information. So data is referred to the raw material. The raw material of information. The raw material of information. So then what is the information? Because the data and information both are different. Many students know tell it is a same, but really this is the different. Because when the data is organized and presented by someone, then it is referred as information. When data is organized and presented by someone, then it is presented by someone, then it is referred as information. Then it is referred as information. What is the knowledge? So information information. So information read, had, seen, and understood, then it is known as knowledge. Information read, information had,
Sir, presented by someone.
presented by someone. Presented because the data is present. Suppose I have one data values, have 50 number of students admitted, mobile number is this, admitted to course this, subject this. So it is presented by someone, then we refer it as information. Okay, then we will refer it as information. What example I have given, the number 98611720721. This is a number, but when I present it, it is the mobile number of somebody. So that is the information. That is what I have written. Data is organized and presented by someone. Okay. So what is knowledge? So when the information, what we have got in the previous steps, so information read, information had, and information to be understood. Information to be understood, then it is the known as knowledge. Then then business intelligence, what is the meaning of the business intelligence? Business intelligence, particularly that is the information management for an organization's policy or decision making. That is the information management for the organization's policy or decision making, particularly when tied to strategic and or operational objection. So that is the case. So that is the organization's policy. Policy and that is the organization policy and decision making process also. Organization's policy or decision making in case of the operational or strategic objective. So what are the organization's policy and decision making required? So the knowledge for this decision making required for strategic or operational objectives for the purpose of the strategic and operational objectives. Operational. So this is the case of business intelligence, the information management for the organization's policy or decision making, particularly when we refer to the strategic and operational objectives. So that is the business intelligence. This is the business intelligence. Is it clear? So now we will discuss what are the informations or data collection techniques, because we have to gather the data. That is the primary objectives. We have to first gather data, because how to provide the information to the users of that particular system. So first part is to gather or collect the data. Is it okay?
हेलो सर, मॉर्निंग सर।
हाँ मनी।
सर एक्चुअली मैं ये बोल रहा था सर कि आपका ये जो मतलब आप जो पढ़ा रहे हैं सर, इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी सर जो पढ़ा रहे हैं सर, उसका नोट पहले से शेयर कर देते तो ज़्यादा बेटर रहता है सर समझने के लिए।
अच्छा ठीक है, मैं नेक्स्ट क्लास को नोट भी प्रिपेयर कर दे दूंगा। तो फर्स्ट क्लास टुडे, सो
जी सर।
मैं जो भी आज व्हाट आई विल टीच टुडे आल्सो आई विल शेयर as well as the for the next class, so I will also
हाँ सर,
prepare the
पहले से रहता तो थोड़ा सा मतलब हमको भी थोड़ा इजी रहता है समझने के लिए सर। हम लोग के
हाँ
लिए भी नहीं आया ना सर।
हाँ श्योर श्योर आई विल also share the note, हाँ.
थैंक यू सर।
So next counterpart, information and data collection techniques. So really different data collection techniques. Different data collections techniques it includes. So we are doing the survey. So we are preparing the data sources, secondary data sources, or many cases we have the archival data. Many cases we have the archival of the data. So the most popular data collection techniques that include, first is the survey. So first is the survey. First is the survey. So in the survey, what we are doing, a questionnaire is prepared. So to collect the data from the field, because the many more marketing survey are going on. So we are preparing the questionnaire and prepared. The questionnaire submitted for the who are the users of that particular system. They have written and they submitted to you. So from that you can collect the large amount of the data. So nowadays the Google form is also helpful to prepare, because when you will prepare it, so Google form when you will prepare it, so at that time when you will what the users will submit the Google form. So at that time the information present. So the data can also be, large amount of the data can also be collected in that form. Earlier from what person to person you will meet and collect those data. That is also present. But survey, whatever type of survey, through the technology you can do the survey, or through the pen and paper, through the papers, prepared papers, you will give and they will write. So that is also another part. So that is possible. So doing the surveys and collecting the data. Doing the survey to collect the data. Preparing the questionnaire. Okay. Questionnaire, and then we can gather the large amount of data. Next is the secondary data sources. Next is secondary data sources. So secondary data sources or archival data. That is also referred as archival site. That is referred as archival data. So archival data or secondary data, so that is particularly is collected through the old records, because old records, magazines and the company website, because suppose the 10 years data, so we'll keep it inside another uh, different site, that is the referred as archival site. So archive data jo kuha hochi. So because the university having the 20 years record, so one is the archival site where you can get the previous history or records of the previous students, those who are already passed out for more than 10 years. So similarly, because different secondary data sources, because are also needed because we have to prepare one the information system, so we have to go through all the data records. So that is why we have to refer to the secondary data sources. So not only the questionnaire, current questionnaire one only, so we have to also focus towards the secondary data sources. So secondary data sources, particularly that is the through old records, magazines and company websites. So what are these are the old records. Okay. So different from the magazines and from the company websites. And company websites, etc. Nowadays, what we are doing? So we are creating the system which also already present in another area. Another example, suppose we will develop an information system for a student management purpose. So suppose, so already many more applications already developed. So we can also follow that. So that is why websites which will give us one complete information about that system maybe existed at some other places or some other sector or from other domains. So but we can easily know what are the related data categories and how the information is extracted. We can easily evaluate it. Then we will apply our computing technology to derive the useful and meaningful information. So that is why secondary data sources, because the data sources is the most important part. Once the data is prepared in a subsequent, in a later, you have the modules of the database management system. So we will also discuss how the data will be stored and managed. So through the computational techniques, we will also discuss. That is in the fourth module or fifth module it is present. So we will also discuss. But data sources is most important part because information system particularly focus towards the gathering of the data, dissemination of the information. So that is the case. So gathering data, so through questionnaire, there is the survey, and another is the old records, magazines, and the company websites. Next is the why the objective measures. Now, an experimental test is conducted, and next is the experimental test is conducted, and also the data is collected. The data is collected. Different tests we are doing. So from that we can collect the data. Next is the through interviews. So next is the through interviews. So interview data collected by the system analyst by following a rigid procedures to be followed, and collecting the answer to set up the already prepared questions through personal interview. So when the interview is arranged, so through the personal interview also we can also collect the information. So these are the related information or data collection techniques. So what are the collection techniques? I will give the entire note, but now you remember the points. What are the important data collection techniques? Because the information system will focus towards the data gathering. So that is the for that purpose. So we did these are the data collection techniques. First is the survey, secondary data sources, then experimental test to be conducted, then through the interviews we will collect it. So these four are the most important data collection techniques which are essential for information system. Getting clear or doubt?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you just now remember the points and you may write mark it and write it, but I will give the descriptive part. So I will share in the next class. So we'll discuss also next. So now come to the part classification of the information. So classification of information now classification of information. Information can be classified through number of ways. So we have to learn most important ways how to classify those information. So for example, suppose information classification by characteristics, classification by application. So that is the case. Classification by characteristics and classification by application. So why the classification is essential? First of all, classification means what? When large number of data or files we have to select some files instead of all. For that purpose, we have to apply the rules. So rules will be applied. So suppose in the bank cases, lots of applications by the customers applied for loan to how to take a loan. Bank give, bank has the condition rule that if salary greater than 30,000, age greater than 25 or 30, you are eligible for this much amount of loan. What happened? Out of 1,000, out of 2,000 applications, so bank will scrutinize the few applications, maybe 10, 20, 30. Because classification exactly stick to the rules. What are the current rules? What are the conditions it has? So then it will classify. So classification information can be classified through characteristics. Information can be classified through application. So through characteristics, what are present? So now come to the part the information classification through characteristics. So that is the what are the information first is the through characteristics, that is the strategic information. That is the strategic information. This is the related to the long-term policy decisions. So long-term policies, for example, when you acquiring a new plant, what are the long-term policies? So that is the comes under strategic information. No, because the business will be set up for a long-term basis, not we will set up for the what 1 year, 2 or 3 years. So that is why that type of information therefore as strategic information. Next, that is the operational information. Some of you will discuss. Operational information. So operational information particularly concerned with the business level information and is used to ensure proper conduction of particular operational tasks. So what does it mean? Machine specific or Machines nowadays the machines are doing many more works. So robotics in the coming generation, coming future. So that is the robotics which will do the many more works. What are the professionals are doing that will be substituted by the robots. So machine specific, they get the operational level information or shift specific jobs for quality control checks comes under this category because quality should come out. So how the quality will come out? So we have to focus towards the operational level information. Operational level information for particularly purpose of the quality control checks for quality control checks. That is the operational information. Next is the tactical information. Next is the tactical information. So this information required when the information needed for exercising control over resources like budget, how much budget is required, different resources, business resources, and that is the like budgeting, quality control, service level, productivity level, all those things referred as tactical information. So the tactical information particularly focus towards the budgeting, quality control, service level, and productivity level, etc. So that is the tactical information. So what does it what it focus? Towards the budgeting part. Business resources, particularly business resources. Business resources. So, getting it clear? So, information classification, because we have to classify the entire information. So, classification, what I gave an example, like the bank application getting a loan, how the system is classified. Not only the bank cases, because many more cases. So, nowadays, it is computerized and data classification techniques are also used because the data sources in terms of huge records. So if you apply the techniques, then we can able to derive some solutions. Because nowadays the big data cases comes under the real domain. So high volume present. So we have to derive the needed information, only useful and meaningful information. So how to do it? We have to apply the different data classification techniques. Really, the computer science students are doing on this classification works techniques. So like the what naive bias, then the k-nearest neighbor, then the decision trees. Different technologies are also used to derive the solution, but conceptually, so we will remember the informations to be classified because it will once it is classified, we can focus particular that part. Otherwise, we have to search, and again give the lots of times to derive the solution, but it will easily classify. So that is why nowadays what happened already one classification models, related classification models are available. So for the meteorological cases, so how they are predicting because the data science and the machine learning are nowadays getting much more popular. The reason is the predictions. The models doing the prediction work. So it will predict. So tomorrow will rainy or no sunny. So similarly, because the model fits in model is present, developed a computer based model or computerized model. It's already developed by the computer scientists or computer developers, data scientists. Then we have to fit our data source. So that model have they already generated one model to predict the weather condition. Similarly, when the related with weather data will again fit, so again the prediction will do. So the prediction type differ because as per the our data. So that is why classification is most important task. So that is why, but here we have to focus towards the classification of information. Classification of information. So that is the case. So next is the classification by application. Next come to the part classification by application. Is it audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now come to this part. Application part. So first planning information. So in planning information, particularly needed for the information needed for establishing standard norms, specifications in an organization. So where it is also used in operation planning of any activity. Suppose time standards. What are the time standards we want to use? What are the design standards we have to use? So today generations so they are focusing lots of design to patents office design the keyboard. So you might search it. Large number of utility patents as well as the designs are registered by the government. So because you have to focus towards the standards. So suppose we will tell us one what planning purpose. So we have to establish the standard norms and specifications in an organization. That is the case of the planning information. So such information are time standards, such information are design standards, etc. So that is the category of planning because all categories to be discussed and to be classified. So that is the case. Control. Next is the control information. Next is the control information. So control information reflects the when the deviation from the established standard. We have already set up the standards. We have already set up the designs. So when it is deviated, the system should induce a decision or action leading to control it. Because many more things once the rules, regulations are formed, if the system may not function it accordingly, then we have to control it. So that for that purpose, what are the related information we need? That is for to control information. Next, knowledge information. So knowledge information, knowledge is defined. What is the meaning of the knowledge? It is the information about information. Information about information, that is the knowledge. So knowledge information, how it is acquired? Through experience, through learning and collected from archival data and the research studies. Knowledge is the most important part because whatever data we have to extract the patterns. Patterns will give the knowledge. So extraction of the patterns is the difficult task. But knowledge is required. Alternately, it is referred as information about information. It is the information about the information. Data about data, that is metadata. Suppose you will tell one student. Student, what are the corresponding data it has? So student ID, student registration number present, student name present, student mobile number present, student course present. So that is why related. So data about data. Similarly, information about information is referred as knowledge here. So how to gain those knowledge? Through experience. So XU is working for 5 years, 10 years. So he or she has the lots of knowledge in that particular field. Research studies. We will do the research because research is the studies which will particularly focus towards that particular work. What are the works, related works going on across the world? In internet it is present. So we have to collect and study. That is the review of literatures. We are studying last 20 years work, related works. We are deriving it. X has done the review of work this and uses these techniques and what got this. So so that is why that is why we have to also focus towards the research studies. We can also gain the information. So that is the case of the knowledge, and also collected. We can collect the data from the archival sites. Archival data we can use it so for the knowledge purposes. So next is the organizational information. Organizational information. Organizational information particularly refers to the organization environment. What is the culture? So all those things. Particularly it emphasizes, reduces its uncertainty by collecting, managing and using this information. That means everybody can use. We have to give the rules regulations so that everybody can use the the information can be used by everybody in the organization. Who are the users of the organization? They will use it. So that is the organizational information. This information is used by everybody in the organization. Examples of such an employer payroll information. Payroll information. So DA hiked. So this is an example. So it will be applicable for all the employees of that organization. So that is the case. So information, employee and payroll information. That is the example of organizational information. Here the case. That is next is the functional or operational information. Functional and operational information. So this is the information is mostly internal to the organization. Internally, what to be discussed? So specific information, suppose daily schedule to the detailed job assignments, either to the machines, jobs to machines or machine operators. In the service-oriented business, it will be the duty roster of various personnel. That is also. So operational information means internal details. So how we will operate? So what are the jobs assigned to which or to whom and or to which machine? All those things refer to operational information. And last one, that is the database information. So last one, that is the database. Database information. So database particularly refer to the collection of interrelated data. What is the database? That is the collection of interrelated data. We have to prepare it through the computerized manner to store the data. We have to prepare database. So that is what is database? That is the collection of interrelated data. So once the organization having its own database that is already stored, and we can also work from that stored data. That is our database related information. How many employees are working? Who are getting the highest salary? How many leaves he or she has taken? So what are the cases? We are deriving means already stored data present. From that we are applying different rules that are the languages used because the database software when we will use it, the SQL is the structured query language which is used to derive the to derive the lots of application-driven knowledge from the stored data. So that is why database information is the most needed nowadays. Computerized approach, computerized manner to store the data. So all organizations having the database, because nowadays even if the web also consists with the web databases. So that is why we have to also focus towards that and prepare a well database, because database to be prepared also. So that is the information classification under application. Isn't clear?
Yes, sir.
So here today we have discussed these things. So what are the data collection techniques and what is the information, what is information system, and what are the classifications of the information. Classification of the information is most important, because this may be the theory, but if you imagine if it will be applicable in the real cases, how difficult it is. So for that purpose, you will always take the help of the different tools and techniques of the computerized approach, because nowadays many more tools, techniques already developed. We will prepare the reports, easily preparing a report, because the Oracle software will help you. So different softwares, because there is the commercial softwares, open source softwares. So if the organization need open source, it is okay. If organization can able to purchase proprietary software, it is also okay. So that is why we have to do the help, take the helps from those softwares and apply in our organizations, so that the information system can be well maintained. Today we will conclude. I will conclude. So in the next I will discuss, and I will also share the notes for the next class as well as the today's class. So as per the syllabus, we will cover all. So what 10 classes assigned. So accordingly we will plan it. We will do it. Okay. Thanks for your patience listening. Or any questions? Anything? Are you want to ask?
Sir,
Please ask.
sir, please explain control in information.
Huh?
Sir, please explain control information.
Control information means how to control it, because the internal details, suppose in our organizations, the information needed to control the activities for the quality, we have to plan it for the different control level information, how to controls. Okay. So that is the one, because what I told earlier, rules, regulations to be proposed. So on that rules, how many applications? If salary greater than 30,000, those who have more than 30,000, they will be eligible similarly. Control, we have to control, because somebody is not working, machine is not working. That means what? In a deadline, we have to complete the work. If it will not match to our deadline, then we have to fine it. You have to, because what the deals for the projects. So within a deadline, we have to complete our project. If it is not possible, then we have to give fine. So then how the quality will come out? We have to make the control level decisions, so that the quality will come out.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, thanks.